Hi everyone, this is Space Toad and welcome to tutorial number 4 on StarSpore. In this tutorial we are going to look at the Advanced Hull tool. For that I came back to the initial aspect of the spaceship designer, that is to say just one piece of hull, and we are going to see what can be done with this Advanced Hull tool. So let's see, I'm selecting it here, and as for the basic hull I can select various faces. Now just one first trick: although you do not see the parameters here, the shortcuts that were available for basic hull are still available in this advanced hull mode. So for example, if I hit D, I can still drag and drop a face around. Okay, so now that I've selected Advanced Hull, on the left you can see that there are 4 new tools available: Flat, Pyramid, Sphere, and Undulation. By default everything is flat, so that would be the default. I can select it to force it, but that does not really make any difference. Now the first tool that can be selected here is Pyramid. And this does the obvious thing, that is to say transforming this flat face into some kind of a pyramid looking face. As you can see here, there are additional parameters that can be manipulated. Let's see them one by one. S is the distance between the top of the pyramid and the center of actually the distance between the top of the pyramid and the face itself. So I can increase it or decrease it. Scale X and scale Y are the factors that are multiplied by the position on the face on X and Y. Don't worry if it doesn't seem to mean a lot explained like that. The best you can do to understand what those parameters do is to try them out. So let's try to decrease scale X, actually, that is to say going further in the negative numbers. And as you can see, the slope of the pyramid on the x-axis is a lot stronger. If we go the other way around and start with a positive slope, it creates some kind of a reverse pyramid on the x-axis. Again, we can do the same thing on Y, so increasing towards the positive will create this kind of anti-pyramid, and going to negative numbers will increase the slope in this direction here. Cx and Cy are the coordinate of the center of the pyramid relative to the center of the face. So for example, if I increase Cy a little bit, same for Cx, you can see that the center of this pyramid has slightly moved to the bottom left corner. I can go all the way there so that I don't even see the center anymore, and this would be just some kind of a plane inclinated towards the bottom left corner of the face. Let's get those two guys to 0. The last thing that I can do here is to cancel symmetry on X and Y. So if I do this on X, as you can see, there is only one axis that is used to build the pyramid, and I could do the same thing on Y. Again, by trying this thing out, you will get a feeling on what they do, and then eventually use them to create some custom shapes for spaceships. So that was for pyramid. The other one is sphere. It does the obvious thing, it creates a sphere on the selected face. And again here there are a number of parameters that can be modified. The radius of the sphere that can be increased or decreased up to the point where you can't even see the sphere. And I'd like to go straight to the last one, which is default. And for that, I'm going to increase a bit the size of this face, hitting the S button, just dragging towards the corner. Maybe just one more. Yep, that's good. As you can see here, the sphere is only in the middle of the face, and there's this whole area over there where we can't redraw the sphere. The distance between the face and this area is defined by the value in default. If I increase it, I can create some kind of shape where I have this sphere that's within the face, if you will, as opposed to getting out of the face. And maybe if I increase the radius, it's going to look a bit better here. Anyway, that was for default. Back to 0. X, Y, and Z are the position of the center of the sphere within the face. So I can move the sphere around. I can, so on X, Y, and Z will basically get the sphere out of the face, further away from the face. Let's get back to default again. Actually, I quite like this radius. Now, the last two parameters that you can modify here are scale X and scale Y, which are going to modify the scale factor on X and Y. Increasing X, for example, will allow to give a different shape to this sphere. I can even cancel one of them if I want to, which creates more like a cylinder than a sphere really at this stage. And of course I can do that on both axes. The last modifier, the last advanced hull tool available is undulation. Again, as for the previous tools, it is possible to specify the distance between the face and the undulation computation. So if I increase it, you can see that it's going towards me. And then I have three factors that can be modified here: C, X, and Y. Let's cancel X and Y for now. C is the scale of the undulation coming from the center to the side. So if I increase it, you can see that it creates this nice looking waves that looks like coming from the center of it. I can modify the scale that's computed from the x-axis and the one that is computed from the y-axis. Now let's get back to the center one. It's possible to modify the position of the center through dx and dy, so those two last parameters, and this will allow me to modify the center of this according to the value here. It's most visible if I use the scale C mode, but if I just use a scale on X, for example, I can modify the center of this undulation just the same way. Of course on Y it won't change anything, but on X I can change the center of this undulation, if you will. Fx and Fy and Fc actually allow to control the frequency that is applied to these waves, to these undulations. For example, if instead of 1 on X here I put 0.5, I'm going to get something that looks like a nice wave. If I increase it, I'm going to come into one of these weird shapes here that maybe looks like a radiator or some kind of paper, a sheet of paper that would be sort of folded. Anyway, let's carry on. Reset to flat, and I'm actually going to increase the size here to the maximum, which is 32, to show the last point here. It is possible to modify just a subset of a given face using the area or block brush. Block might not be the most useful one, but area allows you to, for example, select a subpart of the shape, and actually need to go back to advanced hull to be able to show that. And let's create a sphere with a big radius, but that I'm just creating on this area here. As you can see, here I've only created this modification on a subpart of the face. Actually, let's try to show something more interesting. If I select everything, make it flat, then create a big sphere, and let's say I want to have some kind of a cross on this sphere, I can go to the area selection mode and select just a subpart, 4, and then cancel things here and do the same thing. So I need to move here. I'm going to do the same thing here. Okay, it looks consistent, and flatten it. And that allows to create some interesting faces. Anyway, this is it for this introduction to the Advanced Hull tool. The next tutorial will be about how to insert components in faces and how to create the internal structure of the spaceship, namely floors, walls, roofs, rooms, those kind of things.